It is Malcolm and Marie. It is the latest Netflix release, written and directed by Sam Levinson. This has been getting some Oscar and awards buzz. However, a lot of that probably died out this week when Zendaya was really shut out at everything. It stars John David Washington and Zendaya. Sam Levinson is the showrunner for Euphoria, so this is reuniting with the star there, Zendaya, and it's the two of them. It's an hour and 45 minutes of them fighting one night, and that's it. That's the whole thing. I was completely drawn in by this movie. I loved every minute of it. Well, not every minute, but I loved it. I loved the premise. I loved the performances. I thought it was real. It was raw. The way the conversation and the argument and the fight kind of meandered from topic to topic, and who was upset and who wasn't upset, who was the cool head. I thought it was really cool. It felt realistic in how kind of life normally is when you are just kind of moving through different conversations, different topics, different arguments. But there was definitely something that was at the root of it that they were getting to. It was great. I think it's the best John David Washington's ever been. I put Tenet on my bottom 5 of last year, and so it was definitely better than that. It reminded me a little bit of him in, I don't think either of you have seen this, but he was like the star diva wide receiver in the Dwayne Johnson HBO show Ballers. But some of the charisma and personality that came out of him there, it kind of reminded me of it here. My favorite part was when he goes on like a 10-minute tirade on film critics. It almost made me scared to try and talk about this movie. But I really love this one. It was a lot of fun. It was intense. For just being two people arguing for an hour and 45 minutes, it was engaging. It was never boring. And 3.5 stars. It's the best film I've seen so far in 2021, which is out of 2. But that's what I'm going with. So yeah, that's my take on Malcolm and Marie. Let's go to Todd next. Todd, what did you think of Malcolm and Marie?
I agree with a lot of what she said. I think Levinson probably wrote it thinking it was like this like slick update on like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf or something like that. But I think the clear inspiration for these characters are Jesse and Celine from the Before movies, because like the conversations feel like their conversations. Like they overlap on each other. Their arguments feel real. Like it's almost like they knew what each other was saying before they said it, just because they're so in sync with each other. But I don't think this is the type of movie that should premiere on Netflix, because like I feel like the audience for this movie probably isn't going to go to Netflix to watch it, and the people that are actually going to watch it are going to be ones that are going to be watching because it's the new movie on Netflix or it's the new Zendaya movie, and they're going to hate it and turn it off after 15 minutes, which I've actually seen people say that they've done, but just because it's two people arguing with each other and that's it. But I think there is like a real beauty to the screenplay. I think that the actors play off each other really well, and it's not like just hyper intellectual stuff. Like it feels like a fight. Like it feels petty. It feels real, and it gets like ugly and it gets mean, which I kind of like, and that feels like Before Midnight in a way. And I'm surprised though in a movie like this that's so concerned with race and stuff that it's not like concerned with the fact that there's like a serious age gap between the two, like the hotshot director and his like young girlfriend who he's like mansplaining like William Wyler in film history too. Like I mean I don't care, like Zendaya can do anything and she's like wise beyond her years, but like it just shows that cancel culture is completely inconsistent and kind of stupid. But in an Oscar season that's like all about these like play adaptations that feel like plays or literally are filmed versions of plays, this kind of feels like it could have been a play, but it feels more alive and it feels bigger because it uses the freedoms of film to make it feel that way. It's more vital than One Night in Miami and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, because it just feels like it's more like life, and it feels like it uses film better. It's a little too long, I think. It's a little too preachy, but when it relaxes, I think it's pretty damn good, and I'm giving it 3 stars.
All right. Yeah, I heard that Sam Levinson wrote this and decided to make it because he was bored over quarantine. And like Euphoria had to be shut down, so they couldn't do any more on that. So it was like, well, I'm just going to write a movie and a couple of my buddies are going to make it. So, all right, Zach, where are you at on this one?
So, normally movies about couples breaking down and fighting and their relationships coming apart are, right up my alley. I mean, Blue Valentine was one of my top 10 movies of the decade. A couple weeks ago, I talked about the segment from Nine Lives with Robin Wright Penn and the other guy. I can't remember the actor's name, but that was also about a tortured relationship. So going into this one, I had pretty high hopes. I like these two actors. I gotta say though, this is like that Tom Brady Super Bowl that he won that you apparently watched, Terry. I don't know what you guys were watching. I found this really tedious, dull. I didn't think that the material was particularly illuminating or insightful in any way. I feel like these are conversations that this movie couldn't decide whether it wanted to be about the relationship between Malcolm and Marie, or if it wanted to be about Black representation behind and in front of the camera in Hollywood. Both of them are fertile topics, but I feel like if you're going to go for the conversations about representation, I would have rather just watched the Directors Roundtable on the Hollywood Reporter YouTube channel. Okay, I feel like those are powerful insights that we don't need the extraneous information about their marriage falling apart to kind of distract us from. Okay, I think the opening 20 minutes of this movie are interesting. That should have been the whole movie. It should have been just the scene where Marie confronts him for not thanking her in his acceptance speech. That stuff was good. I even like how John David Washington's tie goes over his shoulder, and I like that she makes some macaroni. That's compelling. That's interesting. It's a 20-minute, one-scene play/short film. That's what it should be. The rest of the movie drags on. It's interminable. I fell asleep a couple times. I got to be totally honest. Maybe I should give it another shot. But to me, I felt like this was sort of a wasted opportunity because the filmmaker didn't know what it wanted to be. It felt very stage bound. Todd is right that it dragged on too long. And again, these were points that I don't think are particularly revolutionary for anyone who's giving this a thoughtful treatment and seeking this stuff out. I don't have a lot more to say about it. It was not my cup of tea at all. And I appreciate the actors. I guess I appreciate the experiment, but I felt nothing for this movie. It really kind of just bored me and lulled me to sleep. You gotta be honest.
You need some caffeine when you watch movies, man, because you fall asleep during like 90% of the movies you say you watch.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, this movie, there's nothing visually interesting about this movie. Okay, the cinematography to me is very it's trying to be 1960s avant-garde French New Wave sort of stuff, kind of didactic, unoriginal. Okay, and the conversations that they're having, I mean, again, the relationship I don't think is enough to merit a whole movie about. Okay. The conversations are potentially interesting and controversial in some ways and merit some treatment, but not in this format. And when you read more about Sam Levinson and the sort of autobiographical details, I mean, there was some issues with him with a white critic from the LA Times. It just felt very kind of like just self-referential and not particularly cutting edge in any way.
I think it's obvious I went in the wrong order. I should have gone to Zach after my review, and then we would have had Todd splitting us in the middle. Zach, what's your rating of this?
2 stars.
2 stars.
I will acknowledge that I should give it another chance, but I have to be honest. I mean, my interest was in the first 20 minutes, and then I just gave up on it. I think it made its point pretty early.
They don't actually mention the thanking in the speech until over 20 minutes into the movie. Like, that is not anything about the first 20 minutes of the movie.
What are you talking about? I thought that the whole first 20 minutes of the movie is right after.
No, she doesn't bring that. Is not brought up until way later.
Well, okay, so 20 minutes. You know what I mean? The first segment of the movie. For the first 20 minutes. Then they reconcile, and I'm like, okay, this is good. It seems like it's coming to an end, though. So what's the next chapter to this? And there is no next chapter. It's just the same fight resuscitated over and over again. The same points made over and over again.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a marriage, right?
Yeah, but why are we watching it then? Jesse and Celine, okay, at least you know what? I mean, I'll give you before midnight, right? That the last hour of that movie is a fight in one place. But we had context for those characters. Okay, we saw their journey, their evolution. And this movie, I don't think is really concerned with these characters' journey. They're kind of placeholders for, I think, what the director wants basically a loudspeaker to say.
I will say, as I was watching this, the the first thing I was thinking as I was going along is this is a Todd movie. This is a total Todd movie.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah. And I was also thinking like we did our power rankings of movies in one location 2 weeks too early because this is another one that definitely would have qualified. All right. Well, it sounds like we've got 2 on the plus side, 1 on the minus side. I gave it 3.5. Todd gave it 3. Zach gave it 2 and needs to watch it again.
No, I don't. No, please no. I mean, maybe if I need, if I don't want to take an Ambien or something and I just need to chill out, then maybe I'll go for it. But
did you watch One Night in Miami yet?
I have not. I'm afraid to for that same reason. I don't like the stage bound stuff. Okay, it doesn't tend to work for me. I like the Before series, but beyond that, and I like My Dinner with Andre, but beyond that, it's sometimes
aren't
short a lot.
We're not thrice approved. We're twice approved, with one detractor. It's on Netflix. If any of this sounds interesting, if you like kind of these real claustrophobic movies of all one location, it might be worth checking out for you. Malcolm and Marie.